Information, please. Presented each week at this time by Canada Dry, famous the world over for its fine beverages. Wake up, America. Time to stump the experts. Information, please, gives the public a chance to turn the tables on the authorities. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But we're always willing to try to answer any stickers. You send us questions on any subject with the correct answers. You may submit from 1 to 3 original questions per letter. If your question is used, you receive $5 and $10 additional if it stumps the board. So you may win $15 in all. Don't get bothered if our editorial staff changes or edits your question slightly. All questions become the property of Information, please. Letters with questions are to be addressed to Canada Dry, 1 Pershing Square, New York. And now is our master of ceremonies, Mr. Clifton Fadiman, literary critic of the New Yorker magazine. Mr. Fadiman.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you again to remember that these questions come to this learned quartet as what that coiner of phrases, Franklin C. Adams, would call a bolt from the blue. This program is unprepared, unrehearsed, and uninhibited. Tonight, it is in the safe hands of the famous Franklin C. Adams, columnist of the New York Post, John Kieran, who will argue with me, usually with considerable success, about anything from hockey to Hymenoptera. Look it up, Mr. Kieran. Right. The irrepressible Oscar Levant, composer and pianist, and as our guest of honor, returning to Information, please, by special request, the inimitable raconteur and literateur, Alexander Wolcott. And now, gentlemen, remember to raise your hands if you know the answer, or think you do. And if you miss an answer, Canada Dry rings up $10 on the cash register. And that $10 goes out to the lucky question. Now, before I begin with our program proper, I'm going to ask you four gentlemen whether any of you have read Mr. Walter Winchell's column today. No, they are all shaking their heads in the negative. They have not read it. Well, I've read it, and I've clipped the following from it. Mr. Winchell says, "We are too busy covering plays, doing columns, broadcasts, and keeping Stalk Club chairs warm to accept the invitation of Clifton Fadiman to guest it on his Information Please program. But one of these Tuesday eves, we intend accepting. We're glad to have you, Mr. Winchell. And when we do, we'd like to stump Mr. Wise Guy Fadiman for a change, by golly. And also dare FBA, Oscar Levant, John Kieran, and all those other dummies, I hope you got that, Mr. Adams, Kieran, Mr. Levant, to identify the following people." And then Mr. Winchell names 7 people. And I'm going to see whether you can resist this challenge, whether you can overcome Mr. Winchell, or whether Information Please will go down to defeat before him. I'm going to name these 7 names, and let's see how many of them we can identify among us. Are we ready? The first is Simon Newcomb, N-E-W-C-O-M-B. Mr. Kieran.
Simon Newcomb, I believe, was an astronomer.
That's perfectly correct.
He was head of the Naval Academy Observatory, and he wrote a book which I have home on a shelf.
Thank you very much. How do you like that, Mr. Winchell? Mr. Adams.
And he's up on New York University.
Yes, he's up on New York University in the Hall of Fame. That's quite right. Now, what can you do with Joseph Henry? Joseph Henry.
Sounds like the goalkeeper for a hockey team.
It does, but isn't quite.
We know not
Joseph Henry, Mr. Wolcott, any
We know
ideas?
not Joseph.
An American physicist. Asa Gray. Asa Gray. Mr. Kieran.
He is the most famous of American botanists. He laid the groundwork for all our botany books that have since been printed in this country. He devised the system.
That's quite correct. Thank you very much. That's 2 out of 3. Mariah Mitchell. Mariah Mitchell. Or perhaps Maria Mitchell, I'm not sure.
Not Gone with the Wind, Mitchell.
No, it's the other one. Any ideas on that?
He's up on New York University, too.
Quite right. Stick to that, Mr. Adams. You've got something there. She's up on New York University in the Hall of Fame, and she's an American astronomer. Joseph Story. Judge. Joseph Story was an American jurist. Thank you very much, Mr. Wolcott. I think we're doing pretty well. Let me see. The other is James Kent. James Kent. Mr. Kieran?
Well, there's a Kent who is a great lawyer.
That's right.
And he
Don't go
wrote
any further. That's right, correct. Great American jurist. right, Mr. Kieran. And finally, Mary Lyon. Mary Lyon, Lyon.
Leonard Lyon's wife.
No, not quite. Want to guess on that one, Mr. Adams? That's
No,
tough.
never heard of him.
He was a famous American educator, founder of Mount Holyoke College. Now, I think that's doing pretty well. We got 5 out of 7, despite Mr. Winchell's confidence that we wouldn't get them. And all of those 7 names are bound together by what single fact would you say?
The Hall of Fame.
They're all in the Hall of Fame, Mr. Wilcott. Thank you very much. I think Information Police has retrieved its reputation if it had ever lost it. Now we'll get on to the first regular question, coming from Mrs. L.A. Grant of Merrifield, Minnesota. All of you gentlemen play poker. I know that Mr. Adams and Mr. Wilcott are old poker hands.
I used to.
You used to, Mr. Wilcott. I know Mr. Adams used to be a member of the famous Thanatopsis Literary Sporting Oyster and Clambake Association. Isn't that true? I'm going to ask you gentlemen to make up a full house in poker out of mother goose. A full house, of course, consists of a hand of 3 of one kind and 2 of another. Quoting from 5 nursery rhymes that mention the name of cards, make up a full house. That's 3 and 2.
Well, can you count
Mr. Wilcott?
Can you count the jack of the knave of hearts as 1? Or do I have to have 2 names?
Let's have the line of voice from Mother Goose.
The knave of hearts, he stole some cards.
Yes. The knave of hearts is perfectly right. That would do as a jack. That's 1. Mr. Kieran.
I'll give him a jack to go with it.
Let's have a jack
Jack
to go
and
with it.
Bill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water.
All right, that's 2 jacks. Mr. Adams.
Jack be nimble.
Jack be nimble,
quick.
Jack be quick. That's 3 jacks. All right, now we've got to, unless you want to have 4 of a kind, wouldn't do so well. How about Mr. Wilcott?
Well, the Queen was in the
All right.
counting house, counting up. The Queen was in there doing parlor.
Parlor, yes. Queens are in parlor. I believe eating bread and honey, wasn't it?
Doing something to bread and honey.
Yes, I think eating it. Now that gives us a queen. There's 3 jacks and 1 queen, Mr. Kieran.
The Queen of Hearts, she baked some tarts.
Yes, that's all right. Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to visit the Queen. Would be another one. That gives us 3 and 2. Full house made up very easily by this quartet. Now let's see what we can do with the next question from Mr. M. Keisker of Memphis, Tennessee. What was each of the following characters or persons looking for? There are 5 of them. I'm going to ask you to get 4 out of 5. 1. What was the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland looking for? Mr.
His
Wilcott.
gloves.
I beg pardon?
His gloves.
Yes, that is half of the question. Gloves and
Stick.
not quite a stick.
No.
Very near a stick, though.
Umbrella.
Well, no, something not quite between a stick or an umbrella.
What is a walking stick? Cane.
No, a fan. A fan. That's half right.
That's near a stick.
A pair of white kid gloves and a fan. I was trying to get you near a
Yes.
stick, Wilcott. 2. Henry M. Stanley. What was Henry M. Stanley looking for? Mr. Adams.
Darkest Africa.
Well, no, I wouldn't think that would be quite right. Mr. Kieran.
Dr. Livingston, I presume.
Dr. Livingston. That's quite right. Blondel. Blondel. B-L-O-N-D-E-L. Mr. Kieran.
King Richard Coeur de Lion.
Yes. Who was Blondel?
He was the troubadour of Richard Coeur de Lion, and he went to find him in a castle where he was imprisoned in France. So he played the harp until he got an answer from up above, and he said, "There he is."
That's very good, Mr. Kieran. Thanks a lot. 4. Captain Robert Falcon Scott. Mr. Adams.
The South Pole.
Yes, he was looking for the South Pole, and did he find it?
I don't remember.
Mr. Kieran, do you
Yes,
remember?
he did. He was he lost his life with his 2 companions, I think, were still with him on his way back.
Yes, that's right. He did discover the South Pole, though it was some weeks, I think, after Amundsen had discovered it. And there's a famous diary of Captain Scott which gives an account of his suffering. 5, and last, the organist. What was the organist looking for? Mr. Wilkins.
Lost chord.
The lost chord is quite correct. That's 4 out of 5. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, what can you do with this? This comes from New Rochelle, from Miss Ruth Pollock. Miss Pollock wants you to give 4 song titles that might serve as appropriate remarks when the bill collector comes around. Take those bills away would not be acceptable. Mr. Levan.
You go your way, I'll go my way. River, stay away.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levan. I think that would do very well. Mr. Kieran.
I can't give you anything but love.
That might do. That's 2. Mr. Wilcott.
Rufus Rastus Johnson Brown. What are you going to do with the rest of them?
That's a good one. 3. Mr. Adams.
Please go away and let me sleep.
Is that a song?
Yes, sir.
A good song. No, that's 4. We have 4. Let's have another one, Mr. Levant.
Annie doesn't live here anymore.
Very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Levant. We're not doing very well at sticking the boys this evening, I must say. Mr. Wilcott, you're more or less an authority on horrors, aren't you?
Bleak House.
Yes, I remember Bleak House, but on horrors also. Yeah, if I can't find out some horrors, Marie Royal of Maywood, New Jersey, wants you to identify by its appearance and typical activity each of the following supernatural creatures. There are 3 of them, and we have to get 3 out of 3. What's a banshee? Mr. Kieran.
It's an Irish ghost that is always wailing in the dark and is never seen.
Yes, when does she do her wailing?
When does she do? Well, any time that there are people gathered indoors at night that she likes to annoy.
No, she does her wailing at a special
Eve of death,
time.
isn't it?
During the week.
Eve of death.
Yes, on the eve of death, to announce that someone in that particular house is going to die. And they're highly restricted, these banshees. Only certain Irish families have them, the others can't.
Only the best.
Yes, I believe only the very best, yes.
That's all there are.
And only, thank you, Sharon. And only the kinfolk of the person who is about to die can hear the banshee. She or it.
I'm hearing one right now.
You think I'm a banshee? 2. Jinn or genie? Mr. Wilcott.
Well, it's a spirit, confined spirit, be summoned as a servant.
Yes.
Can emerge as a smoke.
Yes. Usually come out of a bottle.
Out of a bottle.
Yes. It's a good spirit. Comes out of a bottle of Canada Dry. They're peculiar to what country, Mr. Wilcott, you say?
Arabia.
Arabia, yes. We find them in the Arabian Nights. The most famous jinn or jinni is what one? Most famous one in literature.
Aladdin.
Yes, Aladdin. From Aladdin story, Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Quite right. A werewolf. A werewolf. Oh, Mr. Wilcott, the expert on horrors, here again.
Well, a werewolf is a vampire, a practitioner of lycanthropy.
Nice long word. Would you like to let us know what lycanthropy is?
It can be warded off by the use of wolfbane or garlic, as it's more commonly called.
Well,
And
you haven't told us just what these werewolves do.
Bloodsucker.
Yes. Do they do anything else besides suck blood? After all, that's rather boring activity.
Well, I think that's their favorite drink.
It is their favorite drink. I think they just devour people generally too, don't they? I mean, when they're tired of the blood.
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Some people believe them to be sorcerers endowed with the spirit of the devil.
Cute kids. Werewolves.
They're awfully nice. That's 3 out of 3. Mr. E.S. Goldstein of Cleveland, Ohio, asks you to give 5 common phrases in which parts of a tree are mentioned. For example, to branch out would be 1. Hope I can take that out of your mouth, Mr. Chair.
No.
Mr. Levant.
Don't make a sap out of me.
Don't make a sap out of me. Very nice. Mr. Adams. Next.
Stump the expert.
Very apt. Mr. Wilcott.
His bark is worse than his bite.
Very good, Mr. Wilcott. Thank you. 3, Mr. Kieran.
Let's get at the root of all this.
Very good. That's 4, Mr. Levant.
She leaves me cold.
I'm afraid the next one is asked of Mr. Levant and Mr. Levant only. You 3 gentlemen can take a rest if you don't
Can I
mind.
take a smoke?
No smoking. Mr. A. Bixby of Los Angeles wants Mr. Levant and Mr. Levant only to furnish appropriate background music for the following scene in an old-time Western thriller. Don't smoke it. Just hold it in your mouth. Look tough. Now, I'm going to have you 3 experts who remain here to judge of the soundness of Mr. Levant's composition. Levant, I'm going to ask you to begin our story by giving us an idea of how the covered wagon sets out hopefully.
Is that Vienna?
let's have another note or two. Covered wagon. Yes, the covered wagon sets out hopefully. Pony boy, pony boy. Very good. You needn't sing unless you wish. Very good. Second episode. Scout returns to warn of approaching Indians. Is that all right, gentlemen? Mr. Adams, you don't seem to like it. All right, let's have the third episode. The Indians close in, sneaking up behind the bushes. Sounds like the Cleveland Indians. That's right. That's the way they do it. That's right. I remember that. And now, Mr. Levant, the battle.
Indian
You
battle.
just gave us the battle.
It's an Indian battle.
Let's have a little more battle. Oh, that sounds more like it. All right. Now comes the hard part, Mr. Levant. The approach of the rescue party and victory. And now can you end it up for us, Mr. Levant, by showing us how the covered wagon moves on amidst general rejoicing. This is the end of the sixth reel.
How does old Susanna go?
Don't ask me.
Give me a couple. That isn't old Susanna.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I'll take it. If you make it sound a little bit more like rejoicing. Very good. Well, we know where to find you if you should ever be lacking a job, Mr. Levant. Thank you very much. Now, so far, Canada Dry announces a loss of exactly nothing. I hope in the latter half of the program I'll be able to get these experts down a bit. Now suppose we give these toiling brains a brief rest and listen to another expert, our Canada Dry Authority, Mr. Milton Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Bannerman. But before you leave the microphone, I'd like you to identify a quotation for me. You will?
I can tell you in advance, Mr. Cross, it's from Shakespeare. It's bound to be from Shakespeare.
Correct. The quotation is from Macbeth. It reads, "Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight." And that's a bit of advice I'd like to borrow from the Bard of Avon and pass along to our listeners. For one of the surest ways to achieve brightness and joviality when you're giving a party is to have on hand a goodly supply of sparkling Canada Dry water. For this fine club soda guarantees your favorite drink a long, active career. Now, there's a very good reason for this lasting liveliness of sparkling Canada Dry water. Millions of smaller bubbles, made possible by Canada Dry's own process, pinpoint carbonation. Tests prove that pinpoint carbonation gives Canada Dry water life and sparkle for 24 hours after the bottle has been opened. A good reason why this likable, lively club soda deserves a place in your home.
Yes, go on, Mr. Cross.
Well, that's all. I've finished what I wanted to say tonight.
I was expecting you to talk at least 20 seconds more. Nothing left for me to do but fill in by asking you to identify a quotation.
Go right ahead.
All right, quote. "There is nothing which has yet been contrived by man, by which so much happiness is produced, as by a good tavern or inn." End quote.
That's from Boswell's Life of Johnson, and as true today as it was in Johnson's time, particularly since leading hotels, clubs, and restaurants please their guests by serving sparkling Canada Dry water.
Cross, you double-crossed me. I'll get back to my experts. They're more reliable. See what you can do with this one, gentlemen. This is from Mr. Garibaldi M. LaPolla of New York City, who wants you to identify the following famous generals. There are 5 of them, and you have to identify all of them. 1, a general who lost nearly all his campaigns, but won the last battle and the war. There's only one possible answer, Mr. Wilcott. Washington. Washington is quite correct. Thank you, Mr. Wilcott. 2, a general who won nearly all his campaigns, but lost his last battle and his power. Mr. Garrett.
Napoleon.
Napoleon. Very good, Mr. Garrett. I like the accent. 3, 2 opposing generals, each commanding his army, and both killed in the same battle. Mr. Garrett.
Montcalm and Wolfe.
At what battle?
At the Battle of Quebec.
Yes, Battle of Quebec. That's quite right. 4, a general who trumpeted his way to victory. Mr. Garrett. Joshua. Joshua bit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. That's right. 5 and last, a general general who won a battle after the Treaty of Peace had been signed? Mr. Kieran.
General Jackson, the Battle of New Orleans.
Oh, you know your American history cold, Mr. Kieran. Can't do a thing with you. Ladies and gentlemen of the radio audience, what would you do if you were in my place? I can't seem to find a single question that can stump these experts this evening. You should look at them beaming. The next question from Mrs. A.C. Eichelberger of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Name 5 works of literature whose titles contain articles used or worn by women. For example, The Bright Shawl by Joseph Hergesheimer would be one. Mr. Kieran.
The Green Hat by Michael Allen.
Yes, The Green Hat by Michael Allen is one. Mr. Levant.
Lady Windermere's fan.
Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde is 2. That's quite right. Mr. Kieran.
Under the Red Robe by Stanley
Wyman.
Wyman.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcott. Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Is
Stanley
that
J.
Wyman?
Wyman. That's 3. Mr. Adams.
Goody Two-Shoes.
Yes, it's a work of literature, a very good one. That's 4. Very good. Mr. Levant.
Petticoat Fever.
Petticoat Fever, who wrote it?
It's an English play I saw it in England. Before your time, you never been abroad.
No, never been a book.
Take my word, English.
All right, I'm sure that's quite. That's 5. You might, there are several others. There's,
Petticoat Influence, too.
yes, or how about The Moon and Sixpence by, A long time ago, it seems to me, there was a book written. It was a very famous book in its day by an Englishman named Houston Stewart Chamberlain. The book was called Foundations of the 19th Century. Well, there are some containing articles used or worn by women. Here's another question from Harold Jackson of Miami, Florida. These are questions about gases. 3 questions about gases. 1. What gas both kills and cures? I'm sorry, gentlemen.
Well, wait a minute.
All right, Kieran.
Nitrogen.
No, that's quite wrong. Chlorine. Chlorine is the answer.
Well, nitrogen
Gas
too.
We'll have to try it. I don't believe it's true. Don't believe it's true. What gas both knocks you out and wakes you up? What gas both knocks you out and wakes you up?
That's personal.
Yes, but that's not a gas. Mr. Adams,
Nitrogen.
you stick to nitrogen. What is this
I
nitrogen
think that is
stuff
nitrogen.
this evening?
Chlorine.
I believe the proper answer would be ammonia. Ammonia. The gas
Ammonia
both
is-
knocks you out and wakes you up.
There's nitrogen in ammonia. Ammonia is
Is a compound.
Compound.
Well, how about a compound gas? Gases can be compounds, can't they?
Ammonia and Canada Dry is a good combination.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levant. What can you do with this one? What gas both shuts you up and makes you talk? It's very useful on this program sometimes.
Laughing.
Laughing gas is right.
That's another
That's
nitrogen.
nitrous oxide.
Yes, I know it is, Mr. Adams. All right. Laughing gas is the more common or popular term.
I'll fight it out on this nitrogen if it takes all summer.
You come around next Tuesday and talk nitrogen.
If it takes all nitrogen.
I think I'm going to have Canada Dry. Thank you. I think I'm going to have Canada Dry lose $10 on that, going to Mr. Harold Jackson of Miami, Florida. Thank you very much. See what you can do with this one. This is from M. Bauman of this city. A musical question. For what person or event was each of the following musical compositions composed? 1. You have to get all on these. Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. Mr. Levant.
Paul Whiteman commissioned for his first concert at Olean Hall.
That's quite right.
Aeolian Hall.
Thank you very much. You can't, it's hard to pronounce that A-E. isn't it?
Sometimes W and Y.
What can you do with this one? For what event was Verdi's Aida composed? Verdi's Aida. Mr. Levant?
I think Suez Canal. I don't know why they opened the Suez Canal with an opera, but I know he was
That's right, they did. They opened
usually open the season with it.
the Suez Canal. No, Suez Canal. Quite right. It was at the request of Ismail Pasha. I want you to
right.
remember that, Mr. Levant.
And it's not on the tip of my tongue.
Yes, I know. See what you can do with this one. For what event was Elgar's Pomp and Circumstance composed, Mr. Levant?
Edward, what was his name? The Edward before. Edward VII, the coronation.
Yes, the coronation of Edward VII in 1901. It's been played practically without interruption ever since. The 4th question,
Good for battleships, too.
Ravel's Concerto for the Left Hand. Ravel's Concerto for the Left Hand, Mr. Levant.
Pianist named, an Austrian pianist. Wittgenstein, Victor Wittgenstein, commissioned. He also commissioned Richard Strauss for left-handed concerto.
But why did he write that for Mr. Wittgenstein?
He got money for it. Revelle got paid.
No, but there was a specific... yes, that's right, Mr. Levant. Don't be so commercial. There was a specific reason why you should write a concerto for the left hand.
Well, Mr. Wittgenstein lost his other hand in the war.
That's right. He lost his arm in the war. Well, that's a little point that you might want to mention in order to make the question perfectly clear.
But Revelle got paid.
You stick to that. You and Nitrogen and Revelle got paid.
Strauss got paid, too. Erasmus Strauss.
Well, that finishes Strauss, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a guess.
What can you do with this one? Wagner's Siegfried idol. Mr. Levant, don't tell me Nitrogen.
He had a child named Siegfried, and on his first birthday, he surprised his wife, Cosima. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Cosima.
He had about 20-some musicians hanging around the staircase. He woke her up with this piece. It's quite beautiful.
It wasn't for the first birthday.
Well, it wasn't before the kid was born.
No, it was just at the time the kid was born.
Yeah, I know. I tried to figure that out. But
Yeah, I know. Well, you just take away one from that, and you're right. In honor of the birth of the son Siegfried. That's 5 out of 5. Pretty good, too. It's hard to believe that these four gentlemen are really as intelligent as they sound. The next question from E. Kirby Newberger, Pass Christian, Mississippi. This is almost all of the last verse of a famous poem. I'm going to ask you to recite the first verse. Here is almost all of the last verse. There in the twilight, cold and gray, lifeless but beautiful he lay. Mr. Wilcott is crying. And from the sky, serene and far, a voice fell like a falling star. Give me the first verse of the famous poem, of which that is part of the last verse.
How about another line of that last?
Not a penny more. Mr. Kira, not a penny more.
Just give us that.
Do it again.
Swing again.
No.
Well,
You should have been listening. Mr. Kieran?
sounds to me like a youth there was. Through
I don't know anything about it. Let me have the line. The answer is...
This is the forest.
No, Mr. Wilcott.
Well, wait.
I know you like the poem.
Wait, if we have to guess, if you're going to shut us
Yeah.
off, let's have a guess.
Go ahead, have a guess. Will you boys decide which of you...
Stag at Eve, the drunken Phil.
No. The answer is, the shades of night were falling fast as through an alpine village passed the youth who bore mid snow and ice a banner with a strange device, Excelsior. You said something about a boy or a youth.
Then the youth
That's
from
right.
Foreman, snow and ice.
Didn't hear you
All
say
right, I
Yes, he
give
said
him the $10.
Did he really
What do I
say
care?
snow and ice?
He said that, but that's not the first line.
No, have to get the whole 4 lines, Kieran. It was a nice try, though. Canada Dry, then, is low has its income lowered by $10 going to E. Kirby Newberger of Pass Christian. That means that we have a loss to date of $20. And believe me, it took some doing to get that $20 out of Canada Dry this evening. These boys were too good. Now, in a moment, I'll give you the lineup for next week. But in the meantime, I think Mr. Milton Cross has a word to say to us.
I know Mr. Fadiman will agree that there is a certain, almost fiendish joy in being able to stump an expert. And since no home is complete without an expert, you'll enjoy playing the Information Please game. Now, the directions for obtaining this game are very simple. Remove or tear off the large labels from 2 bottles of any of Canada Dry's many beverages. These labels are only glued on both sides, so it's simple to tear off enough of each label for easy identification. Then mail your labels with 10 cents to cover the cost of postage and handling to Canada Dry, 1 Pershing Square, New York. If you live in Canada, the address is Canada Dry, Toronto, Canada. The problem of what to do with your guests is always difficult, but the Information Please game will solve it for you. For here are enough questions for 4 complete programs of Information Please. So send your labels and 10 cents tonight. May I remind you, don't forget to include your own name and address.
Thank you very much, Mr. Milton Cross. And now, if I may, let me announce our board for next week at the same time. I know everybody will be glad to know that Mr. John Kieran and Mr. Franklin P. Adams will be back again at the old stand. And as our guests of honor, we announce the return engagement of the celebrated educator, historian, radio commentator, Mr. Hendrik Willem van Loon. Plus, and this is our 4th member, quartet, that famous abuser of the King's English, author of, what is that book? I'm a Stranger Here Myself, a beautiful book of wise and witty rhymes. I'm referring to Mr. Ogden Nash. And now remember that letters with questions are to be addressed to Information Please, Canada Dry, 1 Pershing Square, New York City.
Canada Dry Ginger Ale, Sparkling Water, Lime Ricky, and Tom Collins Mixer come in convenient-sized bottles for every occasion. These exceptionally fine beverages are kind to your budget, too. For the largest bottle, the family size, costs only 15 cents plus usual deposit. And now we bid you all good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Let up and light up a Camel. Smokers find that Camel's costlier tobaccos are soothing to the nerves. Here comes the Camel Caravan with Benny Goodman and the world's greatest swing band, the Goodman Trio, Martha Tilton, and songwriter Johnny Mercer, who was initiated here in the clubhouse last week. So gather round, swing fans from coast to coast. It's meeting time. And while you're swinging out with Benny Goodman, we'd like to say just a word of thanks to you smokers who've made this show possible. You are the final judges of tobacco quality, and you've made Camel the largest selling cigarette in the world. So thanks, folks, and let up and light up a Camel. And here's your president, Benny Goodman.
Thank you, Secretary Seymour. You know, club members, I've said thank you, Secretary Seymour, many times in the past. Well, after tonight's broadcast, Dan's term of office comes to an end. As our secretary, he has kept the meetings in good order, and we're really sorry to see him go, and we're going to miss him. So I'm sure that club members all over the country will be joining us every time we say thank you, Dan Seymour.
Thank you, President Goodman. But right now, I'm sure all club members all over the country will be glad to hear that meeting swings daughter as Benny and the band swing into that ever-young 10-year-old Sweet Sue.
Last week, we initiated a new club member from Hollywood, Johnny Mercer, author of such great songs as You Must Have Been a Beautiful Baby and Jeepers Creepers. He also wrote the lyrics of some real swing tunes, the Dixieland Band, Fare Thee Well to Harlem, and The Girlfriend of the Whirling Dervish.
Hey, wait a minute, Benny.
Well, what is it, Johnny?
Well, I wish you wouldn't give me such a build-up. It makes me self-conscious.
It does, huh? Well, here's something that will make you proud. The inner circle of club members have decided to make you vice president of the club.
You mean I'll have a title?
Yes, from now on, you'll be known as VP in charge of MIPU.
What?
MIPU.
Say, Benny, you're getting self-conscious now.
Well, let me explain. The VP in charge of MIPU means vice president in charge of musical instrument picking up. How do you like it?
Well, I'd rather be vice president in charge of Martha Tilton.
Well, Martha, what do you say to that?
Could be.
Why, that's a music cue.
It's not only a music cue, it's also the title of the very newest song written by our own Johnny Mercer. So, Johnny, for a verse and two choruses, you could be VP in charge of Martha T. I'll join you later, say, in the third chorus?
We can hardly wait, Gate.
Could be that yellow moon is just a big balloon and not that yellow moon above.
Could be that angel face is something out of space and not that angel face I love.
Oh, could be this heart of mine is just a valentine and not this heart of mine at all.
Could be a dream I see, but if you're asking me, could be I'm in love, could be.
Could be that starry sky was painted by some guy and not that starry sky we knew.
Could be that kiss I stole was just a Tootsie Roll and not that kiss I stole from you.
Could be the things you said were in the book I read and not the things you said to me.
Oh, could be I'm in a trance,
But then there's just a chance.
could be I'm in love, could be. Here's the third chorus, Betty. You ready?
That's quite a pretty thing. I mean the way you sing. But we get paid to swing.
Oh, could be.
Must have been. You members get all set to hear a swing quartet. Then comes the love duet.
Shouldn't happen?
Can't happen here, John.
Well, all right.
Leave all that moon and June for someone else to groom. 'Cause we can't play a tune that way.
Okay.
Listen here, Mr. M. You wrote it. I'll agree. But if you're asking me, this is how the tune could be.
Dear friends of radio, in case you want to know what you heard was called,
What you just heard was called.
could be. Every time you and I sing, Benny, I feel sure we've got something. Something great in our throats just longing to come out.
Yeah, our tonsils.
Could be, could be. Here's the Goodman Trio blending their own swing arrangement of a lovely melody, softly as in a morning sunrise. Tell me, President Goodman, what's this I see in the order of proceedings? Graduation ceremonies.
That, Johnny Mercer, is an event that makes us very proud here in the club. One of our most worthy fellow members is starting out on his own in a couple of weeks, and we all wish him the best of luck. It's our trumpet player, Harry James. Take a bow, Harry.
So Harry's going out to blow his own horn. I presume he graduates magna cum laude, and I mean louder and louder. How long has Harry been captain of the trumpet team, President Goodman?
Oh, for more than 2 years. And he's always been one of our star players. And now, like our brilliant alumnus of last year, Gene Krupa, Harry is going to start a band of his own. He tells me the theme song at his branch meetings of swing bands will be Chiri Biri Bin.
I'd like to hear that.
Okay, Harry, give them the cue for the theme of what we know will be a great band.
platform with one of your current favorites, I Have Eyes.
I have eyes to see with, but they see only you. For you have eyes that put the very stars to shame. I have lips to sigh with, what else am I to do when you
Martha, if I could only make a date with you on the veranda of the clubhouse after the broadcast, I'll try to tell you how much I like that.
My, Johnny Mercer, you're an awfully fast worker for a vice president.
And you forget, Mr. VP, after the broadcast, you're in charge of picking up musical instruments.
Well, I was wondering, President Goodman, whether I couldn't be demoted.
Did you say demoted?
Yes, demoted from vice president to, say, treasurer. You know, collecting dues and fines, and, well, don't you think there might be more in it for me?
I see. Johnny Mercenary.
Woo! If I were treasurer, that fund would cost you plenty.
Of course, now that Dan Seymour is leaving us, we will have to elect the new secretaries for club meetings.
Well, then I could be secretary-treasurer.
Oh, here, not so fast, Johnny. You have a lot to learn first. Can you, for instance, recite the club motto?
President Goodman will keep members informed of what's new and good, period.
That's what it says, and here's how it works. We were at a branch meeting of swing fans the other night, and we heard a guitar player named Leonard Ware. He was doing things with an electric guitar that we thought club members ought to hear.
Well, I wonder if everyone knows what a swing electric guitar sounds like, Benny.
Well, Leonard will be glad to demonstrate. Can we hear a few bars, Mr. Ware?
And this is where the Goodman Quartet makes magic. A lightning transformation. 1 minute you have Lionel Hampton, Teddy Wilson, Buddy Schutz, and Benny Goodman. They add Al Hall on bass and Leonard Ware's electric guitar. Presto, changeo, not a quartet but a sextet. And abracadabra, they play Umbrella Man not as a waltz but a foxtrot.
Benny, before I leave, I want to hand over to Johnny Mercer that special file of ours. The letters from the Hot Clubs of America electing you, Benny, their honorary president.
Well, thank you, Dan Seymour.
Johnny, suppose you tell the Hot Clubs what we've got for them this week.
Benny, I heard you rehearse it, and it cannot be described, except that the title is, I Sent For You Yesterday, and Here You Come Today. If you hear anybody singing about halfway through, it'll be me. Aside from that, it is a killer.
Here it is, Hot Clubs of America, your president, Benny Goodman, and the band in this week's special, I Sent For You Yesterday, and Here You Come Today. During the proceedings, Johnny Mercer will oblige with a slight aria.
Benny Goodman saying so long, club members. Hope you'll all turn out for the meeting next week. We've given Johnny Mercer a passkey to the clubhouse and told him to let himself in every Tuesday. Until then, good night for Campbell's and all the gang.
And good night for me, too, Johnny Mercer. Here's where I start my new job, musical instrument picking up. And from the looks of things around here, it'll take me until next Tuesday to get the place in order.
Well, get to work, Johnny, and good night, Benny. Remember, you've all got a date next Tuesday night with Benny Goodman and the world's greatest swing band, the Goodman Trio and Quartet, Martha Tilton, and Johnny Mercer. Next Monday night over these same stations, Eddie Cantor's Camel Caravan rolls in. Eddie's special guest is Boris Karloff, so make it a Monday night date, too. I Have Eyes is from Paris Honeymoon. This is Dan Seymour speaking. So long, gang. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Dr. Christian story called The Guest of Honor, presented for your enjoyment by the Cheese Blow Manufacturing Company,
owners of the trademark Vaseline and producers of Vaseline Petroleum Jelly, Vaseline Hair Tonic, and other Vaseline specialties. Now, here's something that surprises a great many people. The skin has a lot to do with the fact that a man on a polar expedition and a man sunning himself on a Florida beach have practically the same body temperature. For one of the skin's most important functions is regulating body heat. It also helps the body get rid of waste materials and is, of course, our first defense against infection. That's why every mother owes it to her family to have Vaseline Jelly in the medicine cabinet to give first aid whenever anything happens to the skin. Vaseline Jelly takes the hurt out of minor burns, irritations, and scalds, promotes the healing of cuts and scratches, relieves tired, aching feet, and soothes the rough, chapped conditions that cold weather and housework itself may bring. Vaseline Jelly is really wonderful for the skin because it does three very important things. It forms a protective film that helps to keep infection out when the skin is broken. It softens and lubricates by supplementing the natural oils. And it promotes healing. Never be without soothing Vaseline Jelly.